And we're on.
All right.
What's going on, dude?
What's up, Luis? How are you?
Good, bro. Just here chilling, bro. I'm glad. I'm happy that you finally stopped by.
Yeah, thank you. I truly appreciate it. This is like I was telling you a couple minutes ago. This is my first podcast that I'm on, and then the first one I'm ever gonna listen to. Also,
oh yeah,
I've heard little bits and pieces of some, but I've never actually listened to the entire podcast.
You gotta check them out, dude. They're good. When there's nothing else to listen to, bro, just pop one on a topic that you want to hear about, and you'll learn stuff. I guess
I'll be hooked after.
Yeah, watch, you're gonna be hooked.
You'll be telling me.
So let's open up the bottle, bro. It's a tradition.
Yeah, thank you.
You brought a bottle today, so
yeah,
thanks a lot.
Got something special here.
That's good. Yeah, I brought us a pour right there, bro. So you want to put it on there?
Oh yeah.
It can be fancy after. All right, bro. So I'm gonna change up the format. Usually, I tell everybody just start at the beginning, where they're from and everything else, where they were born. Okay. But I realized that I never tell anybody what my guests do or who they are. So why don't you tell us who you are and what you do for a living?
All right. So actually, first and foremost, can we cheers?
Yeah. Salud. Salud. Oh, that's really good.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
These are some of the limit one only. So you come back one at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what I do now. So I'm actually regional director for a Wintrust Bank.
Okay.
So, yeah. So actually, I cover 6 branches here in Chicago. 2 in the Loop, 2 for DePaul, 1 for their downtown campus as well as their Lincoln Park campus, and then also I cover a little village in Pilsen. So.
Oh wow. How long have you been doing that?
So, well, with Wintrust, I've been with them coming up on 4 years now in April. It seems like it was just yesterday, but yeah.
Give me 1 second, bro. You're good. You're good. It was picking up everything in the room instead of just. All right, now you're good. You're good. My bad.
No, all good. Yeah, so yeah, I'll be with them 4 years coming up in April. I've been in this role. I was in a similar role like this under someone else the last 2 years, and now yeah, I'm fully on my own. I had 6 branches. Yeah, it's an exciting time for me. So,
dude, that's awesome, bro. Congrats on all of it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of work. It's been a long journey, but I'm here, and yeah, it's very exciting, and I'm very blessed. So.
No, yeah, for sure. So let's start with, where were you born?
So I was born in Blue Island, Illinois. So
Blue Island.
Yeah, Blue Island, BI.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah. I was born in Blue Island, St. Francis Hospital, which when I hear it's going to be actually closing pretty soon.
Really?
Well, it closed down a while ago, then someone else had purchased it. So whoever owns it now, I think it's Metro South or something like that. Yeah, it's going to be closing. But yeah. Grew up there up until high school. So high school.
How was Blue Island back then? Was it predominantly? Was there was a lot of Latinos? No or no?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of interesting. I was just telling somebody this. I remember growing up when I was very young. It was actually a lot of Italian and Polish.
Okay.
Thinking back to like first, second, third grade, all my friends were like Rocco, Gino, and at the time I didn't think much of it, right? And then as I got older, it was Miguel, Carlos, all names changed, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that diverse, probably in the 80s and before. And as I got older, yeah, it definitely started to become more and more Latino. I think now it's still pretty mixed, but it's definitely probably mostly Latino now. So.
Yeah, you're probably the second person. I know you guys grew up in Blue Island. I have Renato Delgadillo. He grew up in. He's a State Farm agent. He has a State Farm office over there now too. I think it's the second office, but he grew up over there. But yeah, dude, no way.
It's a good place,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you grew up on Beggar's Pizza then, or what?
I did grow up on Beggar's Pizza.
Yeah.
And anyone from there will also mention T&G. It's a Yido place that's really popular.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Beggar's is from there.
We used to take. Well, no, it's Western, right, or Cicero Avenue. Cicero Avenue runs through there too, or no?
Western. Cicero. I think that's already Elsa probably. Well, I think
yeah, like Elsa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to go to this. There's a go-kart trek out there. It was all the way down Cicero Avenue. I don't know if you ever.
Is it in Crestwood?
I think it was like past Crestwood.
Okay.
And it was a go-kart place. And on the way back, we'd always stop like by Blue Island or off of Cicero Avenue because we had never realized we had never over here. You grew up and you never heard of Beggar's Pizza.
Yeah,
So you go out there and it's everywhere over there, and we had it. It was it was good. So like
absolutely.
we always made a point of going to Beggar's Pizza.
I remember when I went away to college. I came home during one of the sessions or something, intersession or Christmas break, and then there was like 10 of them.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
this is the thing now. Like it, it's a franchise. I don't know if overnight, but it just seemed like it. Like there was 10. And I think now what they're the pizza for what the Bears,
are they
the white? Well, for sure the White Sox.
The White Sox, yeah.
I think the Bears also, or Blackhawks, or I don't know. They're definitely doing well.
Yeah, for sure. So where did you go to high school? Where did you go to grade school?
So I actually went to a school. It actually closed down. It was called St. Isidore.
Okay.
It was in Cal Park. And then my 7th and 8th grade year, my mom wanted to actually get me somewhere else. So I transferred to St. Walter's. It's in Beverly. It's about 119th, right where Chicago and
I know exactly.
Split.
How was that going to Beverly? Was it?
It was different. It was it was a primarily Irish school, and and going into it, there was a lot of Irish Catholic, traditions and that I didn't know about. It was a very different school. It was a totally different culture. And it was interesting to think that I was literally only a few blocks away, right? And there was this whole other culture there that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, Beverly's totally different than anything around there.
Very different. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you were growing up, did you what was your first language, English or Spanish?
You know what? I remember being young, maybe kindergarten, first grade. I remember at that time Spanish being more.
Yeah,
that was definitely my first language, and then probably around there it just flipped, and definitely English has been.
So your parents were both from Mexico, or?
Yeah, my dad's from Aguascalientes and my mom's from Guadalajara.
What part of Aguascalientes? I'm from Aguascalientes.
Aguascalientes.
Cut it out. Really? Yeah. Have we had that conversation before?
I don't think we have, because I can only name like 3 people from Aguascalientes, and you're not one of them.
No, I'm not worth them, bro. Have you gone to La Feria de San Marcos?
Hidrocálido.
Yeah.
I actually go every year.
Cut it out. Really?
Yeah.
Dude, we gotta go. I used to go every year. So every year I used to go. I used to land in Guadalajara. I used to go with Freddie Oropesa.
Yeah.
Freddie Oropesa, a couple of the other guys. Before I used to go by myself, I would land in Guadalajara, go to Tepatitlán de Moreno in Jalisco.
Okay.
Party there because their ferias are around the same time, but it's only for a week.
Yeah.
And then from there, we'd go to La Feria de San Marcos. And then, my sister lives out there. Everything, dude.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. I go every year. It's great. I usually go in April for the feria. I mean, I just love everything about that festival. And it grows every year. I think it's just really impressive. I think it's a great showcase of what Mexico is. I think there's an impression, of like violence and drinking, and there's definitely, plenty of drinking and all, but it's a really good festival. I mean, they have so much there that they offer,
Yeah, dude, I think that it probably showcases the best of Mexico.
Absolutely does. And I think the culture of Aguascalientes is what, I've been there. I tell people this all the time. I've been there to Feria maybe 12, 15 times, probably more. And I've seen one fight, right? So for that much drinking, that many people to have seen one fight only is.
Dude, and it's thousands. Like, I don't think people realize how many people it is. And like you said, every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And everyone there is from, they're from all over the
from every
country, right? And I think it's great. I think Aguascalientes just gives that culture of, hospitality, friendliness, just very welcoming. And I think that showcased really well. The last thing that I still need to do there, I don't think I've ever done it, at least not in recent history, I can recall, is for the
Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
They have the Calavera or the festival now. Yeah, that one's big because of Posada and all that.
Right. Actually, La Catrina is from there.
Yeah, and that's another. I was just telling the girls here because they were talking about La Catrina, like, and one of the girls here, they go to Zacatecas and they fly into Aguascalientes. So I'm doing like La Catrina is from Aguascalientes. Like, he's the one that painted her. They have that big one when you leave the airport. Like, when you're going in. Yeah,
it's Jorge Posada.
Jorge Posada. Yeah. Have you gone to his museum?
To which? No. There you go.
They have his museum. They have a museum. It's called El Museo de los Muertos or El Museo de la Muerte or something like that. And that's another one. Like, do they have so much stuff there? Like, it's to me, it's like a mini Chicago, like in regards to just all
Yeah.
the stuff you could do there,
Yeah,
and then it's just
it's
it's
great.
dope.
The most recent thing that I did there that was new for me was ¿cómo se llama? San Jose de Gaza. They have a Cristo Roto. It's like
Oh yeah, El Cristo Roto. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
So
if you go, my dad took us once. If you go to Calvillo,
oh yeah.
you go to Calvillo, there's an entrance to La Sierra Fria. And dude, when you go up in there into Calvillo and through there, you're in La Sierra. But bro, it looks nothing like the bottom of Aguascalientes. It's super green.
Yeah.
There's just trees everywhere. There's cattle just roaming. It looks like you're somewhere. You're totally
Yeah.
there's beautiful. And then if you take that road, it takes you all around Aguascalientes and it drops you off. It comes down the road and it drops you off right there in El Cristo Roto. And then
Oh, I don't think I've done that route before.
no, dude, it's bad. Where you have to do it's like a national park, kind of like
Very
when you get
cool.
to it. When you get to that road, the military's there and everything, and then they let you in. They like check your car because it even has a sign that says "Don't steal like rocks or
Yeah,
anything like that." Because they have like on the side of the road, you're literally driving on the side of the mountains, and you see like fossilized rocks and everything.
really.
Like it's crazy, bro. It's beautiful. It's
There's something new there that,
Yeah,
that I've not done yet.
yeah, you have to check it out. Like my goal is to next time go at least 2-3 times.
Very
I
cool.
mean, just but it's cool, and it drops you off right there in the Cristo Roto.
That's great.
Yeah.
Have you done any of the wineries?
I haven't, man.
There's a ton of wineries. Well, there used to be many more, but actually in the Aguascalientes, in the flag in the actual shield, there's actual grapes in there from the wineries.
So I don't know if you knew that. That's what Aguascalientes was built on. It was all haciendas de uvas.
Yeah,
and that's what that was the biggest import of Aguascalientes. They were known for there, and then the water dried up.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that and then honey.
Honey, really?
Is everyone, yeah.
They if you go like to El Tercer Anillo, the second ring, or El Segundo Anillo, El Tercer Anillo, I've never been out that way, but you could see the old haciendas. Like you'll see the old.
There's a bunch of
old
empty
ruins.
ones now. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still quite a few ones. Well, as far as wineries, a bunch of closed, but there's some really good wines there.
Really? Where are they at? Are they outside or inside?
No, I mean they're outside. I mean the ones I've been to were within like 30 minutes.
Really? I gotta check them out.
20-30 minutes.
It's because honestly, where you get there, your family wants to just hang out.
Yeah, they don't leave you alone.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want to drink beer and eat
Yeah.
tacos all day and drink tequila and just chill and relax.
Yeah, if you make it to one, there's one called Vinícola Santa Elena.
Okay.
I'll tell you guys next time we go, but it's really good.
Yeah.
They have very good wines. Yeah,
way.
very impressive.
Man, dude, that's cool, man.
Yeah, you know what? I brought a bunch of wines back, and I have a bunch of friends who are big wineys, and I brought some to a party, and I didn't tell them where it was from, and when I told them it was from Aguascalientes, they're like, there's no possible way I'm gonna tell you. It's from Mexico, and it's from Aguascalientes.
No shit like that, huh?
Yeah.
See, dude, like I think not that I'm saying that the people of Aguascalientes don't know what they have, but like sometimes I feel like they don't.
Mhm.
Like they should showcase all that stuff even more. Like have restaurants that just showcase everything that they have. Like, dude, you go to people's houses and they bring these crazy cheeses that they make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, these breads, everything's super fresh. You know what I mean, you're eating, you're like, dude, like why isn't there like a restaurant downtown that literally just someone goes and buys all this stuff? And
Yeah, I mean, they really haven't showcased too many local restaurants. There's not a chain, well, like they're big restaurants, all kind of chains, right? I mean,
yeah,
San Pancho and those ones. I mean, really,
yeah, the merenderos.
yeah.
Yeah, bro, no shit.
Well, they go at the same time. Yeah, I know this.
Yeah, for sure. We'll go, bro. My sister lives out there. Like, yeah, there's always somewhere to stay.
Yeah, so I do kind of the same trip. I always go to visit my family in Guadalajara first.
Okay.
I'll stay there a couple days, see my grandma, see all my aunts and uncles there. Then I'll take the bus or drive over to Aguascalientes, and usually I'll spend like a week there.
No
And
shit.
yeah, come back every year.
Dude, it's dope.
Yeah.
So let's so you went to high school in Beverly then, you said?
So I actually went to high school in Chicago too. It was a Marist Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 115th and Kedzie.
All right. How was that area back then?
It was similar. I mean, it was on the border of like, I think it was Evergreen or Oak Lawn. I think it was on the border, but similar there too. I mean, Marist was not that diverse. You know, for being in Chicago, it really wasn't that diverse. I mean,
Really?
Latinos in my grade. I mean, coincidentally, one ended up being my neighbor when we moved out to Homer Glen.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I mean, we were probably two of maybe four to five, four to five Latinos, and yeah, it just wasn't that diverse. It was also at the time it was an all boys
The
school.
school?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's co-ed now. Actually, my senior year, or actually after I graduated, the following year they started a freshman co-ed.
Yeah. How was it going for all boys school?
You
Like,
know what?
during high school?
It was fun, man. You know, I
Yeah.
think there's an impression of those schools, and I think in the '70s and '80s it was probably a very strict school because you
Right.
could still see some of that culture there.
Mhm.
But the dean and the brothers really couldn't get away with what they used to.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they were still pretty strict on you, but you could tell that there was a different culture there. But when I went there, man, I mean, to be honest with you, it was really fun. I mean, you put I think we had 1,500 or 2,000 teenage guys into one school. I mean, it's just it was a fun time, and it was it wasn't as serious as you would
It,
think, right?
yeah, is it making out to seem to be?
Yeah, yeah, but it was definitely a very unique experience, right? I mean, it was shirt and tie every day, for example. But at the same time, there was no girls there, so there was no one to look good for, to try to impress, right?
Yeah,
So
so it was easier.
so no one took it seriously, right? And
Yeah.
everyone wore a tie, but you'd keep your like the same tie knot. I wore a tie for 4 years, and I don't think I knew how to tie a tie until I was in college, right? So
Really?
yeah, I mean, someone tied that one for me, and then I just kind of kept those tie knots forever, or for the 4 years.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah,
hang them up and that was it.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I didn't learn how to tie a tie till maybe it was like in my early 20s. One of my boys was like, dude, it's easy. He showed me like the half Windsor,
Yeah, yeah,
and then that was it. I was like, oh, I've been doing it all wrong
yeah,
for so long. So after high school, where did you go to?
yeah.
You go to
So
school?
I went away to college to Eastern Illinois,
Okay.
in Charleston, Illinois. Actually, Jimmy Garoppolo and Tony Romo are both from there. I
Oh,
guess Jimmy
really?
Garoppolo is more irrelevant now because the 49ers are 8-1. But yeah,
Yeah. Uh, how was it? How was that transition when you went there from
you know what? It
from?
really wasn't bad. And my parents growing up, they were always very strict. We couldn't sleep over at anyone's house. We could never stay over. They let us go out as I got in the high school, we can never stay. We can never stay anywhere, right? So I'm like, man, being sleeping in your house for 18 years going away is going to be hard, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
I think I was so ready just to be on my own and just to get out that I loved it. I got there. I never turned back. I really liked being out there. It was a great experience. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, you're really on your own, right? I mean, like your parents send you money here and there and stuff like that, but to cook, laundry, I mean, everything, right? School. I mean, no one's there to like tell you, hey, you have to go into there, right? So it's a lot of responsibility at a very young age with a lot of distractions everywhere.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's obviously parties everywhere. I mean, there's a lot going on campus. And I think it really teaches you a lot of responsibility on your own. So, but I really liked it. That first year that was really tough. I actually didn't take school very seriously in high school until I actually got into college. I barely got in. I got into Eastern Illinois and DePaul, and I knew that I wanted to go away, right? So I barely got in there. I got in on some type of like it was like an academic like probation, but you had to maintain a certain GPA each semester, or you were out, right?
Right.
So, and I think that taught me, hey, I got to take this seriously, right? I can't just come to college. A lot of parents have spent all this money for for me to come out here, and it's a big obligation. So, but yeah, I got there, took it very seriously, started trying it. I realized, if you try in school, it really wasn't that hard.
Were your was education a big deal for your parents, or was it something that they really focused on for you guys? For you and your
Yeah,
brother?
yeah, big time. I mean, they weren't educated, right? But they wanted more for us, and than they ever did, right? So, all through grade school, right? I mean, or even high school, right? That was what 12 years, 13 years of a Catholic school, right? And they really
Right.
couldn't afford it, but they found ways to make it work. And
Right.
they had a perception of what they wanted to do, that that
For
they
you
had a
guys?
goal for us, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, their goal always was, graduate high school, go to college,
Get a good job.
get a good job, and so yes, but not because of their background, right?
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
come from a big education background. They just
Right.
knew that they they came to this country and they wanted us to go farther than them. So
For sure, for sure. Did they know English, or were you and your brother translators for them, or
no,
what
yeah,
was?
I mean, they speak English. They definitely they prefer Spanish, and even
Yeah,
watching them grow up, they definitely know it better now than they used to. But yeah, I mean, definitely it's their go-to, and
yeah,
there's certain things, either slang or just certain ways that we explain things that maybe it's just different for them. But yeah, they definitely, they now speak it, pretty well. But yeah, I know growing up, they definitely
yeah.
didn't like speaking it.
Were they young when they came here, or like? Or,
Yeah, you know what? And they've told me like the story, probably 1,000 times, but I always forget. I think they came when they were about 17 or 19
oh
or
wow, they were
yeah.
married already, or they met each other
No,
here?
no, here's a mini romance story. So my dad, so my dad still works for the same company that he worked for when he first came to this country.
Uh-huh.
And one of my uncles, actually two of my uncles, one on his side, and then my mom's brother, all worked there too. Um, they were roommates at one of my cousin's house, so they all lived in the basement. It was like, I don't know, three, four, five of them,
Yeah,
however
yeah,
many,
yeah,
right? However many they could fit
yeah,
there, I think.
yeah.
And I believe, from what I understand, is that my uncle was telling my dad, you know,
Like
about
your
my
mom?
mom. I think they spoke on the phone and they wrote each other letters for about 2 years or a
What?
year. Yeah, it was like a year or two. They wrote each other letters, talking on the phone.
She was in Mexico?
Yeah, well, she visited once during that time, but then she went back. I don't recall why.
Yeah.
And then they, kept in touch that way, writing each other letters. And then when my mom moved back, they dated like officially, like in person,
Right.
for 2 weeks, and then got married.
No way. That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's a
yeah.
cool
So
story.
it's not that romantic, really.
It's romantic. Well,
Yeah,
if you ask girls today, they'll
it's
be
like a
like,
mini romance there, right?
because no guy today is gonna write girl for 2 years
No, right? I
in
mean,
emails.
even now
Right?
we don't want to text. What's the big text you send? Text in your hand, or write out a letter and then wait for that response back. It could take
Hey, for
weeks,
real, right? Yeah,
weeks, right? And if the letter even gets there,
yeah,
and
to Mexico, but you're talking about months,
yeah,
probably.
and at that time it was probably pretty expensive to actually make calls there. So I think they
Yeah.
didn't speak on the phone that often.
Oh wow.
So they
Yeah.
probably talk on the phone here and there, but yeah, it's mostly letters and pictures, and yeah, they fell in love and they're married, and they're still married. So
Yeah.
close to them, right?
That's cool. So you went to school. It was a lot of responsibility and everything else. Was there a lot of Latinos at that time still with there, or no?
No, what? It's funny. The more we talk about this, the more I feel like, besides when I was really young, I mean, the neighborhood that I grew up in, and besides like the first school, I feel like every other school that I went to wasn't that diverse, right?
Dude, yeah,
And Eastern Illinois, I mean, you get everything. You get people from Southern Illinois, you get people from Central Illinois, and then obviously from Chicago, and mostly these suburbs. You get a lot of people from the suburbs there. But yeah, I mean, there was a decent amount of Latinos, but again, not that many. And I think that's where I started to almost reconnect again with more Latinos. One of the main reasons is I realized I took Spanish in high school, and then I minored it in college. But I
hmm,
realized, like, at one point, I'm like, man, I'm starting to forget this language.
yeah,
I'm like, because I haven't spoken it, and
yeah,
everyone,
like a practice.
yeah. So I did that, starting out with,
Like,
with more Latinos, and
they, yeah, bro. Like, I don't like the more I talk to people or like have them on the podcast and I start asking them that question, like I realize like now there's a lot of Latinos. Now
yeah,
it's like there is everywhere you go, there's a lot of us. But dude, we're talking about what 10, 20 years ago,
yeah,
and there wasn't a lot of us as much as there is now. I mean, like éramos contados still in different circles or different places you would go, and like yeah, dude, you don't realize it, but we're still a growing demographic, and I
yeah,
think the next two generations are really gonna be able to take advantage of all the stuff that not that we went through, but I mean the stuff, the the market that we're paving, I guess you could say.
yeah. No,
There's
absolutely. I feel like, I think for many of us, we're first generation, right?
yeah,
And I feel like our parents have done so much to come here, stay here, build a career, and help us get to where we are today. And I think it's now it's in our hands, right? what do we do with that? How do we keep this going, right? Because we can do nothing about it, and we'll continue to just kind of be where Latinos are at, or we can really take this up, right, to the
Yeah,
next level.
yeah. I was talking to Nacho. I was telling you I had Nacho. We were talking about it, and his parents used to tell him you have to be as good as you can be, so everybody behind you is better than you because you're gonna you're kind of paving the way. I mean you're showing them, you're leading by example.
Absolutely,
And then yeah, like you say, like if we're just half-ass everything and not want to do anything or whatever, then yeah, who's anybody gonna not look up? I'm not saying that people look up to us, but or who's gonna what's gonna be the scale? Where's everybody gonna think they can make it to?
right.
So you gotta you gotta just do it, man. Just freaking
Absolutely, and I feel like there's an obligation for if, if, for everyone that in our circles who are in a career who are doing well is to now we have to teach other people, right? Teach other Latinos, teach other youth that hey, you can make it, and hopefully better than me, right? I mean, we've made it to. I was telling someone else earlier, rags to living okay, right?
right.
Definitely not rich. It's like hopefully, this next generation is more rags to,
No,
riches, right? I mean,
yeah, no, for sure. Like I've had that conversation with a couple people, and I'm not trying to put anybody down like older Latinos, but there's old Latinos that they just did their thing, never taught anybody. You know what I mean? So when you have like other nationalities or other people, ask you like, hey, why isn't there this or why isn't there that? And I tell them like, look, man, you gotta ask the people before me. Like, I'm here now. I'm gonna try to do what I can do, but you know, you just gotta lead by example. And I think that's something that like I see you, bro. You're always doing it like that. You know what I mean? You're always leading by example, and that's why you're a cool guy, bro. Because
thanks, man. No, but I mean, I think it's true, and I think the other thing that we have to remember is that these things take time, right? There's been Latinos in the U.S. for many, many years, but probably on the states that used to be part of Mexico. Let's say, right? Really think about it in Chicago, in New York. It's probably only been, I mean, a lot of first generation people. So
yeah,
it takes years to really get established. Build assets, build wealth. Teach others. How to move up. And I think one other thing is just for us is just being patient, do all the right things, and you know eventually I think we'll get there, right? But it takes a lot of guidance from the other a generation prior to us. So
yeah. I think that's why, like you said, like you have the Latinos from California, and you go
mhm.
and you talk to them, and they're a totally different mindset, but because they've had generation after generation of Latinos,
Yeah,
since what the 60s, the 70s that have been, helping them out and teaching them, getting better and better. So I think we'll get there. We'll get there. And I think we're gonna get there a little bit faster because we have help from other people who already seen how can be done.
yeah, absolutely.
So how was college for you? Was it hard or was it easy?
You know what? College was great. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. Yeah, I had a good time. I did really well in school. In college, like I was saying earlier, I actually started trying finally.
Uh huh.
I didn't find it that hard. I mean, I was very involved on campus, so I think that part was hard. Where I still remember now, there was days where I was up at 8 and I didn't get home till 8 or 9 p.m. Right, so I was very very active on campus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the hardest part was that first year and learning how to manage. All right, right. There's a party every night, right?
Right.
Do I need to go to them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
school's first. So, like I was saying earlier, my parents are paying for this. There's an obligation there, and I have to make sure that I see it through. I
Yeah.
mean, you wouldn't imagine how many guys and girls the first year, first semester, first year don't make it, and
Yeah.
typically because of their own fault, they just don't know how to manage it, and it's definitely not easy. But you can make choices, right? And these things were all choices,
Right.
right? I mean, there's temptations everywhere, but it's like, how do you make the right the right choice and focus on school and still have a good time? But yeah, I was very involved in my fraternity. I was very involved on campus. I really enjoyed my time there. It was great, and to this day, I mean, I have so many connections from there. I'm still very close with everyone from college, and
Yeah.
very happy, very fortunate.
What did you study when you were in college? Or what did you
So
go
yeah, so my
major
major
in?
was in business management,
Business management?
and then I minored in Spanish, and
Yeah.
really that was just to kind of keep the Spanish going and not
Yeah.
forget it. So
So I usually ask this at the end, but I'll ask it now. So is that what you wanted to major, or what did you want to do when you grew up? Like, what was your dream job, or what was your?
Yeah, you know what? I just got asked this question the other day. I did a Mesa Latina a luncheon at
Let me get some whiskey
MC7.
and tell me about that. I was going to ask you about that. I got. I stopped. Thank you. Yeah. Ponla right here. Okay, I'll get the next one. So you were saying, so what was that Mesa Latina?
So it was by an organization called Build Chicago. It's on the west side,
Okay.
and they chose. I think there was maybe 12 or 15 of us who were, leaders who are Latino, and they invite us there to speak to different youth. So we had a table of my table. I think it was about 10 or 12. Kids from back of the yards, Berwyn, Cicero, a little village everywhere throughout the city, right? And we kind of just spoke to them about where we came from and really how we've made it to to where we are to where we are here today. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I was talking to some of these kids. I was telling someone earlier too that I think we started at the same place because both of our parents came here with nothing.
Right.
These kids had it way harder than I did, right?
Yeah.
And for different reasons, right? I think my parents took a different path, or we started a family business, and we had really focused on school, right? But it's hard for these kids. I mean, just hearing their stories, and I told mom, like, you know what, my story is not unique, and it's not any harder. It's actually, it's not even near as hard as you guys is, right?
Dude, I think back then when our parents came, it was easier for them to get jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there was still, it was, I feel there's more discrimination maybe now, where just like it's harder for them to, like, for someone to come in now and get a job than back then, because back then it was just like, you want to work, just
I mean, they were bringing the people over. I mean,
yeah.
And now I think, for many different reasons, there's kind of an I am that now, and it's a little more difficult. And
yeah, for sure.
And really, at that time, I think in the '70s, we still wanted immigrants from all over the world at that point, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, we're kind of full, but
yeah, like,
right,
take it easy.
Yeah, but I think that was kind of more the where the country was at that time, right? But yeah, so I participated in that. Some of these kids, I mean, like I said, they've been through a lot, and they've been through, like I said, they have it very hard. They've been dealt a very tough hand, but I think by going to things like that, at least they're taking the initiative, and maybe not all cared and all that, but I think most of them took the initiative to to actually be there, and hopefully they'll uh, you know take our advice, and they'll work on a plan of how to get to where they want to get to, because you really can get to where you want to, right? There's so many resources out there where if you really need, if you need the all support and help, it definitely is out there.
Right.
One of the questions, came up was, what'd you want to be when you were little? I was like, well, I mean, little, I mean, like a football player. I mean, it was unrealistic, right? And
Yeah.
there's a whole thing about, you could be anything that you want, right? And that's not true. I don't care how hard I trained. I was never going to become a professional soccer player. And I learned that in high school, where I learned that everyone else was way better than me in high school. I went to my freshman year tryouts, and I never tried out before. And
Yeah.
I got there, and these kids were in way better shape, way faster, just bigger. And I'm like, wait, okay, all right, this is not I'm not even close.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometime in high school, I think I took a business class with one of my teachers, and I really liked the idea of business finance, investing, helping others make money. I think at that time and through college, like, the idea was, I'm going to be some kind of stockbroker, investment broker. Once I learned more about the jobs, I realized that wasn't for me, but definitely in finance. I definitely want to help others, meet their goals, and make smart financial choices in their life.
Right. So you always, you know what? One of my boys, the same exact thing. He was in high school, I think, and someone told him, like, he's like, I want to make money or something. They asked him the same thing when he was a kid, and he's like, I just want to make money. He goes, if I could get a job where I can make money and help people with money, that's what I want to do. And like, yeah, now he's like a financial planner,
Okay.
but he works with like setting up like the 401ks for like companies though. So he
Yeah.
like talks like to the whole group instead of just individually.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember one of our teachers during that class, they taught us how to trade stocks and do all that. I remember he let us watch Boiler Room
Yeah.
and Wall Street.
Yeah.
At the time, like, oh, that's what I want to do. I mean, not rip people off,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah, you
not
want
that
to
part. But I mean, like,
you want to be Charlie Sheen?
yeah,
You want to be the
I'm like, I want to make money like that when I trade stocks. And the reality is, as I got older, that path wasn't what I wanted to do, but definitely still, still in finance.
yeah.
So yeah, with my management major, I
Mhm.
realized too, that I wanted to lead others, manage others, help them with their careers. So
Yeah. It's dope. So after college or through college, how many years do you go to college for?
I went for 5.
For 5?
Yeah, yeah, 5. It
Why
was
do you laugh, bro? It's
5
like,
with a bachelor's
yeah, let's
and a minor. I mean, when I got there, so truth be told, when I got there, I wanted to do 5 years. So I always took one less class. I think I took what it was. It was either 5 or 6 was like the full you could do, and I
yeah,
just took one less.
yeah,
And I feel like that definitely benefited me. It was one extra year, but I'm like, all right, I can focus on this many classes instead of this many. And
yeah.
since I wasn't good in school, I'm like, all right, I think this is a
Dude,
better approach. So it worked out for me.
bro, I was terrible in school. I always tell everybody I got my master's in high school because I went for 5 years instead of 4.
Yeah. Oh,
And
you're
every-
state race?
yeah, and everybody's like, they're like, why did you go to 5 for 5? They'll be like, what year did you graduate? And like all my friends will be like, oh, we graduated this year, and I'll be like, I graduated this year. And like I stayed one more year to get my master's in high school instead of yeah. But bro, if you look at my report cards, it was literally D's all through the first 4 years, and then
Yeah.
literally when everybody left and I had nobody to talk to,
Yeah, all right, yeah,
it was
so-
straight A's like for the last year, and then I just got out of there. I was like, okay,
You know what? But it's interesting because I mean, school is very important. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
No.
school, that's uh, that's super important. But like, I think standardized tests in school isn't a true measurement of how smart we are, intellectual. Can we be in the business world? Can we build relationships and all that? So, um, looking back at it, what I would have done differently, um, I think I could have got to where I am here today. Either way, but I think if I would have tried harder in school, I could have maybe got into a better school. I think my first job out of college maybe could have been higher, so I could have started higher up,
right?
right? And because I think after that, no one really looks at where you went to school. I mean, maybe just to make a some kind
Yeah,
of like connection with you, right? But after that, it's all about all right. What have you done in your current job, right? What have
yeah.
you done? With your
No,
company, right?
definitely. I mean, like I have companies that come all the time, like insurance companies, or I have like the CEO of a company come once in a great while. Like they'll come in, they'll talk to me, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that?" I'm like, dude, nobody would give me a job. I'm like, that's why. I'm like, that's why I started a company. Nobody gave me a job. I'm like, so I took it upon myself to just
Yeah.
do something about it. But yeah, as long as you have that 2 years experience, it doesn't. I mean, no, but yeah, I totally like. I hear people all the time talking about you don't need college or any of that. I think if you have the opportunity to do it, do it. I mean, because it teaches you how to learn. For me, I think it
That
does.
I think that shows you have the responsibility to actually learn and you're dedicated to it. I think the other thing that's probably the biggest thing is teamwork, right? You're put in group classes, right? Like you put in like you know, a different group projects.
Yeah,
And it's like, how do you work with others, right? How do you manage that?
right.
And there's always one slacker in the group that they just should look at
Yeah, for
on,
sure.
on the final day. But I think the big part there is, are you coachable? Can you work in the team? And I think those things are weighted much more heavily in the business world than anything else. But I tell people too because I think on social media you see a lot of people that have made it like without college, right? Gary Vee and all these people, but they were going to make it regardless. They have that drive. Like it's not because
Yeah.
they didn't go to college. It's
No,
just,
yeah,
and not everyone could actually do that. I think there's a conception of everyone. Oh, I'm just going to drop out of college, right? Not everyone can be those people. I think it's very important that people understand that you can definitely do it, but I think something along that way, that person was built already where they can make it happen.
Well, then and too, like that's why like I started the podcast because you always see everybody online and everything else is like, oh, I'm super successful and all that. But dude, they never tell their backstory. They never tell about the days that
Yeah.
they were trying to figure it out. They went to school, they grew up, and stuff like that. And I think like dude, Gary Vee, I think his parents own like a liquor store. Like you said, he was gonna make it anyways. Like he had his family had money. You know what I mean? Like they were he was gonna be all right.
Right.
You know, but he was smart enough to take that advantage that they gave him and make it even bigger.
Absolutely. So yeah, I feel, and I think, and I don't listen to his stuff like too much, but I think he encourages people to go to school. But when they don't want to, I think he says, if you don't want to, then yeah, don't go then, right? But I think it's figure out what's best for you, right?
Right. And honestly, for me, it's just be careful with the debt you're gonna incur when you go to school. I think that to me that's the biggest thing because that'll really mess you up if you don't if you're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, and for a lot of people, and I was fortunate enough where my parents paid for college. So I'm very, very blessed there, right? They spent every last dollar to put, to actually do that, right? But for a lot of my friends, I think for a lot of them, right, we went out. I graduated December of 08, right? So we went out for quite some time. I think some just barely finished paying off their, student loans, right? I mean, maybe in the last 2-3 years, and that's a long time. You were working after college for 8+ years, and you're really just finishing, and it's a huge debt, right?
Yeah. I still have a huge debt for. It is what it is, bro. Like you learn and you just like you say you pave the way for the future generations and hope you teach them something so they don't have to go through what you went through. Yeah. In that regard. So after college, where did you?
Yeah. So after college, I knew that I didn't want to come back home. Like I don't want to move back to my parents' house. But the way that I figured, all right, I'll move back to my parents. I'll save money. I'll buy a house, and that's how I did it. Right. So moved back home. I was probably there a year and a half. Got my first job out of college at Chase Bank. One of my friends actually worked for Chase, and I was working at a bar, kind of part time in the summer. Then after college, I was still working there just until my.
What bar are you working?
I was working at Moe's Cantina.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Bartender or bar back?
No, actually, I was security there.
Were you security there?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. Yeah. I mean, everyone else was twice my side. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure why they hired me, but so I was like, hey man, like, what bank do you work at? And I need a bank account. So he's like, oh, Chase Bank here and there at this location. Like, I'm gonna come in there, right? I went in there, and then they opened the account and all that. But then they spoke to me about Chase Bank, and at the time they had a management training program. So I'm like, oh, I want to manage others. I want to work in finance. I'm like, this is perfect, right? So started there, and then save money. Wanted to buy a house. Bought a new car because my old car is ready to go.
Yeah.
Pay that off in a year because I didn't have any expenses. I kind of gave my parents some money, like for food and like groceries, how to buy stuff, but really, not too many expenses, right? And did that about a year and a half, and then I bought a place now in Pilsen. So graduated December of 08. I bought my place in August of 09.
09?
Yeah.
The place off. Well, I want to see where you live. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
No way. So you've been there for 10. How was Pilsen? How was that area when you moved in?
You know what? I didn't know much about Pilsen going in there. And actually, when I bought the place, like, oh, it's University Village. Then when I was in the closing, I'm like, oh, yeah, University Village. This and that. And they're actually like, no, it's actually Pilsen. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, I live in Pilsen. But yeah, it was definitely more diverse, definitely much more Latino. But I feel like that the change that we've seen, most recently had already started. You kind of started.
For sure.
Started seeing that change. University Village, that East Pilsen area. Sometimes I'm not even Pilsen enough for some people because it's East Pilsen, or whatever. So, and there was a lot of new condos there, and I think my building was only a couple years old, so you kind of already started to see some of that, kind of coming from the East. So, but I've always loved living there, and plus I don't like moving, but I really like living in Pilsen. I'm very happy that that I moved there, and I've been there ever since. So.
Dude, so true story. I used to be a salesman for a grocery distributor. Part of my route was in Pilsen. So that grocery store, it's not a grocery store no more. It's right where that Maxwell Street Polish place is at.
Evelina's.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
it was a grocery store prior to that.
Yeah, so it was that little grocery store. So I used to sell to that little grocery store, and there was like two more inside the neighborhood. Dude, the owner, and this is like in 2000, 2001, like 99, 2000, 2001. The guy was buying buildings for like less than 100,000. He's like, hey, he goes, people are moving. He goes, they're moving out of the area. They want to move. They want. He was buying 2-3 flats around that area. I don't. I want to go to that grocery store just to see if he's still there. He was a guy. But yeah, bro, he was like, yeah, he goes, I already bought this one, I bought that one. He goes, I've been renting it to Güeros now. He goes, they want to live around here. I don't know why, blah, blah, blah. Dude, but that was, imagine what those buildings are worth. Now that guy's easily a millionaire, man.
Oh yeah.
Multi-millionaire. Yeah, dude.
If I had the money and I could have bought more places, I would have, obviously. I was nowhere near that, but if, right? I mean, and you've seen it all over Pilsen. I mean, there's a ton of new developments. I mean, these properties are going for a lot. I mean, I was telling someone the other day, there's townhouses, or they're not townhouses. They're like 2-flat houses that are pretty new, right behind me. They sold for $1 million.
$1 million?
Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, $1 million and I'm still your neighbor? Like,
that's crazy.
I can't justify that.
I thought it was like $500,000.
No, the one went for like $988.
Jeez.
I'm like, if I'm paying $1 million, I'm not gonna live next to me. I'm gonna live somewhere far from me.
Yeah, well, no, that's the market now,
crazy, right? I mean, it's
real crazy.
And it's crazy how fast it was kind of happening. I think for a while, then just really quickly over the last 3 to 5 years, it just kind of fast forwarded, right?
No, yeah, for sure. So you stayed at Chase for how long, or was?
Yeah, I was at Chase for 8 years.
8 years.
I was a manager at a few different locations. I started in the suburbs. I was in Romeoville, then Aurora, and I became a branch manager up in Edgewater in the city. Then I managed a location in, actually, I don't know where it was. I mean, it was Archer and Ashland. So it's like Pilsen, McKinley Park, and Bridgeport. I think I'll meet there. I'm not sure what side the state is on. But yeah, then I was there for a few years, and I managed a Chase in Bridgeport on 35th and Halsted, and then
right by Wings and Rings,
huh?
By Wings and Rings,
yeah.
That was my spot back then. I haven't been there in a while. I gotta go back.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I used to go there. I haven't been over there.
We'll go right now.
Yeah, let's do it. But then after that, then I came over to a Wintrust. So
all right,
which is where I'm at now.
So how important do you think being bilingual helped you out when you applied for the banks, and like even today, like with all the stuff that you do?
No, I think it's extremely important, right? I mean, after English, Spanish is the second biggest language, I think, in the world. I could be wrong on that. If not in the world, definitely.
I think it might be
in the US.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you have the ability to communicate with different clientele here, here in Chicago. I think it's a bonus, right? I mean, you could communicate, you could build relationships. It's interesting. I mean, a lot of it means, like with clients or different organizations, I mean, it's usually in English, but oftentimes, if they're comfortable, or if that's what they want to speak, I mean, let's go ahead and do it in Spanish. And I think sometimes it's just a test for them to say, do they speak Spanish? And I think it just builds another connection with people. You know what?
I totally agree with that, because I'll have clients that'll call me. They'll speak perfect English. We're like, do you speak Spanish? I'm like, see. We're like, and then they just start speaking Spanish. I'm like, bro, like, I know you speak English. You just spoke for me.
Why do you make me do this? It's so much harder.
Yeah, but I'm like, all right, it's cool, man. Whatever. I'm like, whatever works for you is what I'm down with. So 2 more questions, bro. What would you today give advice to your younger self when you were growing up in Blue Island? What advice would you today give your younger self?
Yeah, I think I talked a little bit about it earlier. Like I said, I'm very happy where I am, and I think I would have got here either way. But definitely, I think if I were taking school more seriously, I think early on, right, in high school and in college, or like, I'm sorry, grade school and high school, I think I could have started. My first job out of college, at Chase, I really loved it. It was a personal banking job. It was in Dominick's. right? It was
Oh, yeah.
Indinomics, right? So
Oh, that's when the
in-store program,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And it was great, but it was very hard. It was very, very difficult, and I really enjoyed that time, and I have no regrets from those days. But I think I could have started, somewhere else. I definitely could have started, could have started higher. So I think for me, education wise, was taking more seriously because it does matter. All through school, like, oh, you get good grades, get a good job. Like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll get a job, and I did. But I think I could have started somewhere, somewhere higher, and yeah, I think that'd be the biggest
Yeah.
reason why that. And I wish I took, I wish I didn't take such a break from Spanish. There was definitely a gap right when I started at Chase. Actually, like, oh hey, you're in Rome. You go, hey, there's Mexicans. Go talk to them. Like, I'm not comfortable. Like, I don't know how to speak banking in Spanish,
Yeah.
and I haven't spoken Spanish like too much, and I could do it, but I'm like, it's beyond me right now to go there and discuss banking products. I'm like, I'm not there.
Yeah.
And I think if I mean, it's not like I took a break on purpose, right? But maybe I could have always spoken to my parents in Spanish, or always spoken to my cousins, to my brother in Spanish, or other friends, right?
Yeah.
Because there's people that I know who look way more Mexican than me and have names like Hector and last names like Torres, and that's not the same person. It's two different people.
Yeah.
People, but that don't speak a word of Spanish,
No, yeah.
or had or knew it at some point. Now don't speak anything, right? And mine's not perfect, but I mean I can speak it. And I think it's beyond important for us to make sure that we do know that language, and hopefully we could pass it on to our kids,
No, yeah, for sure.
because we can't lose that language, right? I mean,
No,
we
you
have to,
c-
we have to
no,
keep
no.
doing that. And so many generation or so many kids nowadays either don't speak it, or from what I hear, they don't want to speak it. Either they're embarrassed or they're shy or whatever it is. But we
I
can't lose our identity, and we can't lose that language.
do it, and I always tell everybody that's younger, I'm like, dude, practice your Spanish because there's a bunch of kids, predominantly white kids,
Yeah.
that are being raised by Spanish nannies or Latina nannies, know perfect Spanish, and they're proud to speak it, and they're the ones that eventually are gonna outphase you, because when you go apply for a job and they say they're bilingual and they can speak perfect Spanish, and you're Latino but you don't speak Spanish, bro,
Absolutely.
they're gonna get the job.
Let me give you one more example real quick. When I was in Bridgeport and in McKinley Park, we had a lot. The branch was either Chinese or Spanish.
Yeah,
If it was Chinese, it was Mandarin or Cantonese, or Cantonese, or one of the two, right? Um, and a lot of my clients, their kids, spoke English, Chinese, either Cantonese or Mandarin, or both, and their nannies were Latinas, so they were learning. They're already on their fourth language, and they're like, hey, like, well, for their culture, like, our kids, we want, we want four languages.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like they're two languages ahead of our American culture, right? Or three languages, really. I mean, we have two. Some people have just one, and they're already on, three and four. And imagine if you spoke definitely the three biggest languages. I think there's another language. I think one of the Indian languages is pretty big too. But between Mandarin, English, and Spanish, you could communicate with 3/4% of the world, if not more,
Bro,
at that point.
I was in the middle of Cambodia, in the middle of the jungle, at some orphanage. Like, I took it was like a 4-wheeler tour, and they took you like off the grid. Like, they took you to all these different places, and they took us to an orphanage to show like all the orphans, and you could buy like shirts and stuff like that and donate money to them. Start talking to the kids. They knew 5 languages. These kids in the middle of nowhere knew 5 languages. And I'm like, bro, what do you guys want to do with what do you guys want to be with your, we're like, want to be tour guides. Like, I was like, if one of you guys gets to Chicago and you know 5 languages, forget about it.
Think what they could do. Right?
Yeah, and they can. So yeah, like that's huge. I know you travel a lot, bro. This is my last question because we're running out of time. So I stay
I'm here all night.
Yeah, cool. So I know you travel a lot, but where have you been, and what was well, I know you've been to a lot of places, but where's the most interesting place you've been to, and what was the best food you've ate while you were on your travels?
Ooh. All right, let me start with the food. I've loved the food everywhere I've gone. And I won't say it's my favorite, but I think I was the most impressed by this one because I didn't see it coming. I didn't expect it. Peru.
Peru?
Their food is fantastic.
Really?
And we think Peru, like ceviche, we think lomo saltado, right? They have so much good food there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I just, I got there. I'm like, all right, we're gonna eat these things, right? I've had these things here. I've been at Tanta before, whatever, right? No, I mean, way wrong. I mean, they have. I don't think there was one bad thing I ate there.
Really, I've heard this before.
Really?
A couple people told me. I didn't either. Yeah, but now that you're telling me this too, like I have to go check out Peru and check out the food.
So I would say that one because it's like towards the top of my list because I just didn't expect it. Plus, it was also very, very good.
Yeah,
But to me, the best food in the world is Singapore. Singapore, I think, has
Singapore?
the best food. And
yeah, that's on my list for sure. Singapore.
yeah, Singapore, their food is fantastic, and it's the only thing that's very affordable there.
Yeah, everything's cheap in Asia too. Well,
No, well,
depending on
Singapore's
so-
not. These
Is
drinks, we probably would have spent about $200 by now in these drinks. Probably.
Really?
Yeah.
How much? But so is it street food or is it the restaurant?
Well, the restaurants are really good, but their street food has very high health standards. I don't want to say it's the only one because don't quote me on this, but if it's not the only one, it's one of the only countries in the world where food stands have Michelin stars.
No way.
Yeah.
But so is the street food cheaper or cheaper than?
Well, no, all the food there is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Everything else is pretty expensive there. But
Yeah.
the street food was called hawker stands.
Okay.
They're basically just like food courts outside. Yeah, I mean, very affordable food, very good, but it's people that have been handing down recipes for many, many years.
Yeah.
And I hate to pick one country, but I really like Singapore overall. I think it's a
Really?
very unique country. I mean, honestly, I like everywhere I've been. There's not been one place where I didn't like it, but I really like Singapore. It's a very unique country. It's a melting pot of a lot of countries from over there. You get
Yeah.
Indian, you get a Malaysian, Chinese, Indonesian. So yeah, it's hard to pick one, but I've been there more than once, and I think I usually don't go besides Mexico. Try to go to one place more than once. Not that I won't go back, but not now.
Right.
Maybe when I'm older. And that's one where I've been there multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
How was it when you being Mexican? How was it over there? Like, did they recognize that you were Mexican or?
You know what? They say there's Mexicanos everywhere. There is, and there wasn't Mexicanos there, but there wasn't a lot.
No, right?
Dubai, I've been to also where actually we found Mexicans there.
Yeah.
But there wasn't, I didn't see many.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would say those. It's hard to say. I love Brazil. I love Colombia. I love Costa Rica. I love everywhere that I've been. I think when I go there, I really try to embrace like the culture and learn everything I can. I've loved everywhere. Cuba, Spain, Thailand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved it all. There's nowhere I've been where I'm like, this is just all right. So maybe I've gotten lucky and just picked really good places. But I think when you go there with the mindset of I'm going to love this place, I'm going to love like their people.
Yeah.
And this is kind of interesting. So when I go there, I don't want to talk to any American. And that trip in Peru, one of my friends like, oh man, you're so stuck up. I'm like, I'm not stuck up. I just have Americans back home. I don't want to talk to any not that if one were to approach me, I'm like, oh, talk. No, but it's like I'm looking to speak to people who are from here.
Yeah,
right?
I get it.
Like,
I totally get it.
a Canadian or like an American back home. I'm like, here, I want to learn the culture. I want to meet local people. And I wish I had a podcast. Actually, my brother was telling me, he's like, your combos in Cuba, he's like, the amount of information that you got out of these people, like in a good way and just deep conversations. He's like, I wish there was like,
bro,
we didn't even know about it back then. But no, they were just great conversations where I always find people, and I stay in touch with, I think besides Malaysia, I stay in touch with at least one person from every country that I've been to. Minimum.
Do it, bro. Grab a little one of those little mic. They have like these little mics that you travel with or whatever, and just do it, bro. Just do a podcast.
I should do because I get into great conversations about everything locally, food, like culture.
Bro, that's literally what Anthony Bourdain did, and just changed the game. But
I love that guy.
He's for real.
Rest in peace. But
yeah,
he's fantastic,
bro.
Cheers to that.
I'm gonna have to have you back on so you could tell us about your travels and your new podcast when you started. And bro, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming by. And
yeah, thank you. It was fun. Like I said, the first podcast listening. First podcast being on. So both.
Yeah,
Thank
bro,
you.
for
It was a
sure.
pleasure. Thank you.
Whatever. Thank you.